blanket box that I built. Actually what it is, it's 5 crown top raised panel doors put together with spindles cut, put in the center 2, and the back corner cut out of 4 spindles for the front and the back. And it's 100% solid wood, solid oak and solid cedar, but it's all pull-out drawers now on full extension slides. They roll in and out easy. I still got the center bar to put on the top there in between. I haven't done it yet, but design of the kitchen stayed except for those drawers right there instead of the 2 doors. Everything else stayed the same. Now I got bad light here. I put these panels down here on the island. And I made up 2 panels for the dishwasher and 2 for the compactor over there, or 1 I mean for the compactor as well, as you can see. Just put all new handles on. You didn't know we were going to do that or not, but she decided that she wanted new ones. And this is the other side of the hanging unit there. Like I say, everything stayed the same. I didn't change anything except new fronts on the doors, or new doors on the drawers, or what am I trying to say? What I was trying to say is put new drawer fronts on too. Yes, all the drawer fronts, as you can see, are all 5-piece drawer fronts. Drawer fronts are made exactly the same way as the door is. So each drawer front is a small door. It's a raised panel sitting in. Okay, what we're doing here now is we're ripping up the rough stock into just 2 3/4 inch strips for the stiles and bottom rails. And we just run everything through the saw. We'll do maybe 400 or 500 lineal feet of each. Now this is the kind of waste piece I like to have. You don't have to wonder what to do with it when it's that small. You throw it away.
We're going to edge all these boards. We're going to gang edge them through the planer. I'm not going to be able to reach in my pocket and take the remote out to turn you off.
Okay, here we go. Putting the tenons on both ends now. This is the nail part, the tenon. Sliced in there, both, and that's a top rail. That's a 4.5. And there they all are lined up. This is, I think, an order of 52 doors. That's just the top rails there now. I'm sorry, and the bottoms. Those are all tops. And these are the bottoms.
How'd you do there? How'd you do? My knee's itchy. Well, as you've seen there in the previous ones, we cut out this is our top rail. And we got the tenons put in them. What I'm doing now, I got to trace the pattern on here for the arch. And that's what this is. Now, I got a whole set of these, all different sizes for different widths of doors. And as you can see right here, that this template here, this contour, is good for a 16.5 to a 17.5 inch door. And these templates right here now are 13 and 5/16 long. And according to my work chart that I got made up here for this set that I'm making, it belongs to a 17.5 inch wide door. So I'm using my jig here now just as a holding device to hold them good and square in. So I put it in here like that, and I got centering lines on either end here by my two fingers. I just center it between those lines like so, make sure it's in and back, and just trace that out. Now this is template number 8. I write 8 on there and just lay it aside. That way when I'm all done and I start cutting these out on the shaper, I know just by the what number template that I've used to trace it out with, so I know which one to put back in the jig here when the time comes to shape out the top of the crown rail. So I got an 8 put on all of these here. And then this just drops back in the set that's here. And I'll take my next batch. Okay, I got my next batch here, and I'll measure one of these top rails, and it's 14 and 13/16. That's a lie. It's 13 and 13/16. 13 and 13/16 goes with this order right here. Crown top oak, 13 13/16. They belong to an 18-inch door. 18 inch falls between 17.5 and 19, so this is the template for this, and this is template number 9. I'm writing the number 9 on my worksheet here, because I will also need the corresponding one of these, the opposite one, which is this one, to put in my jig later when I crown out the panel. So I'll just take this, put it in the jig, center it up between my centering lines.
And here's Mary on the bandsaw. Just a stack in front of her that she's got to do. She just puts them back on the radio arm saw when she gets them chewed up. She cuts out these, and she also cuts the corners off the raised panel, so I don't have to take so much off with the hog cutter.
What we're going to do now, we got our tenons put in the ends of our rails. Now we're going to take off the edge, put our profile on the edge in here. I'm going to run one first, take a look at it, and make sure the center, the groove lines up with our tongues on this one here. Now we're only going to be running this at 16 feet a minute. That's not very fast when you're running 13 or 14 or 30 inches. You're waiting for it to go through. When you're shooting them through here at 16 feet a minute, and they're only 5.5 or 6.5 inches long to start with, as you're about to see, there's some scrambling, some laughing, and some cursing going on to get them all through there in time.
Here we switch over. Here we go. Now watch the spring tension on that fence. See, it's pushing them against that left fence. And the cutter, as you see, is in line with the right fence. Now, if you look right at that middle wheel, you'll see an indent in the wood. That's where the cutter's coming into it. Anywhere from a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch. And that end down there, they're exactly 2.5. And they're 2 5/8 going in. You still see the width I got left here that I could go. So I can get up to 2 3/4 in there. It's just making the cutter work harder than it needs to be, that's all. That's that tongue we just, or the groove we just cut in there now on the side. And of course the profile on the top. And that bottom piece, it also came off. So
on our top rail, which is our crown rail, we got to put the profile on the edge of it, like we just put on the edges of our stiles and our bottom rail. Now we got to put that on here. Now we're going to use the same shaper to do that with. This one right here, number 2 shaper. Hard as doing that. Take my little wrench here. Put it under there. This is too heavy for me to get my fingers under to lift. Lift that one up out of that locating pin. Set her there. Take this one up out of the pin. Pour her out to the miter slot. Drive the pin back down tight. So I don't lose them. I just got to hit them with the welder. Set them in. Then I take this old gizmo top here, and that rack down there out of the way. And now we're got our operation set up to cut some crown tops.
Turn that down. I'll turn that down a bit. The outboard end of this now, you're going to see the very last part on the right hand side coming out. This is where you can lose a lot of your profit here by blowing it out. Now that cutter, of course, is going counterclockwise and is cutting all straight or downhill. Now with the cutter starting to cut uphill, okay, and now it's cutting right into the edge. So right there is where it wants to tear out. So what I'm doing here on the very end, I'm what you call climb cutting. I'm going in the direction that the cutter is going in. If you ever try to do that with your router, you know sometimes she wants to take it and just pitch it out of your hand. Now the larger shops have got 2 sets of these shapers. One set up from going from there to there, and another shaper set up from going to the right back down to the bottom. But of course I'm just doing it with the one. Now that piece of wood right there is, I tell you, it's polished. It is so smooth. Okay, here we're going to do it again. This is a different one now, not the same one. See, I'm doing good okay to there. Okay, it's cutting with the grain. Now I'm cutting downhill. Now I'm starting to come up. And notice I lift it away from the guide. Now I take another little, because I don't want to blow it out. What I do, it'll blow the bottom of the tongue and the top of it off. And of course the piece is ruined then. I'm doing good lately. The last couple hundred I haven't wasted one. Because I'm doing it backwards here like this, you see. It takes, what, 15 seconds longer. But I got a piece of wood that's worth $1 that works. That piece is finished now, ready to go into the door. The outer dimensions of these now are all good. The outer dimensions, just bring them down to 3/4 of an inch. Just bring them down to 3/4 of an inch for the panels. Get them raised. The panels. Get them raised. Okay.
Well, there you go. They just got raised panel, just got traced out with the crown top on it. And cut roughly on the bandsaw, again to within 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch away from the line. Now back to our number 2 shaper here. We'll just take our tenon jig off. And set it aside. Most of the dust off their table. Now these are the set of cutters right here we used, the bottom set. This top one done nothing but spin. Now we're going to put our other top on. It's got 2 locating pins in it that drop down into place. Now this bottom cutter is hidden. We exposed, all that's left exposed now is our dead collar here, acts like the bearing rub collar, and our top straight hog cutter. It's just a straight 1-inch knife. Okay, what we do now is we take our raised panel jig, which is this one. Template that we're using for the particular width of the door is number 9. Okay, because like I said, these all change with different sizes of doors. Got a locating pin notch cut here, and it's got a locating pin in the center of it. Put it onto that notch. Take our raised panel, put it in here. I'm going to turn this one sideways. Here, I turn it this way so we got, maybe you can see what's going on. Turn this one around here now, and there's lines on that template that lines up with this size of door. I'll move that over, move this one in. And of course, the only time you got to do this is when you change your door size. Tighten up that clamp, slide this piece in tight, tighten up that clamp, give my template a tap there to make sure she's down, pull the panel up to a little over flush with here, and lock her in place. Now what we got is our rough bandsaw cut panel here, and we got our proper contoured template sitting on the bottom there. That's going to go against the collar on the shaper. Okay, what we got now in all of our panels, got the proper arch, proper flow, you know, without any dips or anything in it, because we ran it across the appropriate template. And what you're wondering is probably the same thing I was wondering when I first started doing this, is why make this perfectly smooth and perfectly contoured? What's the reason? Because it's going to be 3/8 of an inch up inside of the groove in the arch top up in here. It's going to fit up into this groove. So why bother to make it that smooth? Well, the reason being is because this has to be perfect now, because it's going to rub against the dead color on our number 3 shaper. That's going to raise this panel. And of course that collar is going to follow any imperfections in this surface. So this is why this has to be perfect. If there are any wows or dips in it, the wow and dip will protrude 1.5 inches down into the end of the profile from the raised panel cutter. That's why. Okay, here we are out on shaper 3. This is the big panel cutter on it. Now this is the cutter, of course. It's 5.5 inches in diameter. Now down in here there's a dead collar. Right, where I get my finger, right here. Okay, it's a big round ring. It goes all the way around the cutter, and it stays stationary again, so you don't get into this burning the templates or burning the top of your piece of wood. In this case, it wouldn't matter, of course, to burn it because it's going to be hidden away anyhow. Now this is a spring-loaded big gizmo that goes back, oh, it's 18 inches deep back to the back end of the table, and it's got a spring-loaded outfit on it. You can see the spring here. Okay, and that's just moving the sheet metal, but it's all 1/4 inch iron bar. And I got the dust hood up out of the way. Now the raised panel goes underneath this. See it lift? You see? So it's acting as a hold down device, as our curve on here now is going to go in and follow the roundness on the bearing, and that's, of course, naturally it's got to be done by freehand. So we'll put our dust shield down out of the where it should be, and that way I can look right down through here as I'm cutting it and see when I got this right in against the side of the dead collar and not right on the inside edge of the cutter.
I thought I was holding that up to show you, but of course I had it held higher. You can see it coming off the cutter anyway, what it looks like. There it is, all 4 sides done.
With the bigger ones, some of them now, the rest of them are 30 inches. What I would do, I would just do the round part on there, and then I would do the flat by bringing a power feeder over and putting it into this collar on here. The power feeder tube fits in there. She comes up, comes across, comes in, and she swings in across here and hits up against these 2 locating pins here. Now I just added this fence too. There's 2 bolts that bolts down through the table. The table is tapped, drilled and tapped, so I don't need nuts or anything on them. This keeps the panel running straight through now. It's not going to make any wows or twists or anything in it. Now I don't have 2 power feeders. I just got the one. And to be honest with you, it's a pain in the arms to take it off and bring it over here. I think the thing weighs around 200 pounds. And it's awkward to lift from this height, to lift it up to 4 inches to get it out of there, and to bring it over and drop it down into this one. If you want to take a look and see a couple getting done.
sorts all these out, puts the 5 pieces in little groups all over the shop everywhere. And
How's that heater doing there?
I take them and put them together. There's something new here with the paintbrush.
As you can see,
I didn't know I was talking, so
I used a brush to put this on.
here we go. I'll tell you about
The
it.
joints fit so good. It's almost sometimes like when you put a dowel in a hole, put the glue on it, and when you put it together, you take all the glue off. This way here, when you paint the glue on with the paintbrush, you're assured of full coverage. At 90, filled into the desk right here. And what I do, I just slap the door down, give it a whack with the hammer in this bottom corner, and of course it drives everything into place. And throw the clamps over it and heave them up.